Hi everybody, my name is Claudio, I came from Italy and I came from a small town in the middle between Milano and Parma. It's called Piacenza, so from the north part of Italy.
So, what are you doing right now?
It can be a wide question because now I'm traveling all around the world without flight. This is my purpose, to explore all the world in 1000 days. And yes, the only rule is without flight. I say it is a wide question because it's not only traveling. I mean, I'm also a diabetic person, so my purpose is to show that even a diabetic person can take a long journey without any problem. I mean, maybe there are some problems, but a diabetic person can go over these problems and take this kind of journey. Also, my journey is a journey about searching happiness. So my real purpose is to find my happiness. For this reason, for example, I quit my job because basically I was unhappy when I was working. I was working in a bank, in a really important bank, Deutsche Bank, and I was unhappy to do this work. You know, when you look at the mirror and you see your face unhappy, and you understand that it's a point of your life that you have to do something else. Otherwise, you are like in trap in your life, in your work, in your routine. Every day is the same, and I was really in trouble in this because now in Italy there's a crisis, so everybody's looking for a job. And I got a good job, I mean, with a good salary. But it wasn't enough for me because money is not really important, because, I mean, you need money for survive and to live well, to do also traveling. But it's not the main point, you know? So, yeah, I decided to follow my passion, my dream. I decided to realize the dream of my life. The dream of my life was travel all the world. And I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to gain money maybe in the future. Now I use my saving. I sell my car. I rent my apartment. So I can survive with this. Obviously I'm not rich, and I need every day to put the tension of my budget. So I try to do this with a budget of 15 euros each day. So basically is a travel on 1000 days. So I have only 15,000 euros to survive for almost 3 years and travel all around the world.
Okay, so you were saying you travel without flights. So how do you manage it? What do you intend to use? What have you used? What will you use?
Travel without flights is really it's really nice sometimes, because you can find unspotted places. Like for example, when I was in India, I've been in Manipur, that is a remote area and was close to the tourism about since 1 year ago. So it's really new also for the local people to meet Western people like me. For example, one day a school class came to visit me at the farm where I was living, and it was a really fun experience. But the meaning of taking no flight, it means that you go from a point to another point, from A to B, but understand what's in the middle. You don't miss anything, because if I can take flight, I never been to Manipur, because it was really easy. From India, go to Burma, just take a flight. It's really easy. But I decided to take no flight, so I had to ask a special permission. It means sometimes money. It means wait for a long period without know if you can or not. And manage this kind of things, it can be really a big problem sometimes. It's funny, obviously, but not either. And the other big problem is to cross the oceans, because now I have to cross the Pacific Oceans. And the Pacific Ocean means about 1 month on a cargo ship, and means also to book really in advance this cargo ship, because for example, I will leave from Australia to Canada at the end of March, the next March, and I booked this trip last July. so about 7 months before, and so you have to plan. I had to plan a lot. I'm not my journey is not a scheduled journey. I mean, every day I decide what to do, but I have some dates that I have to respect. And one of these is, for example, the cargo ship from Australia to Canada. But how to reach Australia? Because also reach Australia without flight is a big problem, because from Indonesia to Australia there are no official boat. So even there I had to find another cargo. But in this route from Indonesia to Australia was really difficult, even more difficult than from Australia to America. And I was really lucky. I found one cargo ship from Hong Kong to Brisbane, and I will go there in 3 weeks.
So you were saying that about the point going from point A to point B, and that's kind of bit of what the situationist said. I mean, that if you just have in your mind going from A to B, in the end you miss everything that's in between, right? So, and you don't want to do that. Why?
Basically, the most important opportunity gave me this kind of journey is to meet really local people, to get involved in real local culture. For example, when I was in Nepal, I supposed to stay there for just 2 or 3 weeks, but at the end I stayed for 2 months and a half, because I found an orphanage and I helped these people to work with children. It's an Italian NGO, so I was really like at home for me. When I was in India, because I was on budget, when I traveled in the big cities like Mumbai or Delhi, I had to couch surf. And couch surfing means meet local people. It's the biggest opportunity to meet local people is couch surfing. And it's great, it's funny, and it's also really interesting, because to say thank you to them, obviously I don't have to pay, but I offer them to cook Italian pasta. And people is always happy when an Italian cook Italian pasta. It's a good way to make friends and to share experience, also because it's easy to find many other travelers. And when you find other travelers and you share experience, you share ideas, you share point of view of life, of words, and it's really nice.
Okay, so one thing you really miss now that you're not home?
Yeah, of course, family and friends, of course, but this is really obviously answer. What I really miss is wine. Really, I really miss wine, because only in Europe you can drink a good wine. I mean, you just go to the supermarket and buy a cheap wine and have a good time with friends and good atmosphere, chilling out just with a glass of wine. This is what I miss more.
So what's the biggest conclusion you've got so far about traveling around the world?
That the biggest conclusion is people is good. People is good at the end. The human beings are good, and the goodness of the people is you can find everywhere in every moment. And in our world, I mean, in the Western culture, they try to show countries like dangerous but unsafe, but it's not true. People basically, when you share the local transportation, for example, you share the same experience, so they understand your pain, that you feel not good like them, and they welcome you in their world. And that's mean, for example, India, people think is an unsafe country. But when I was there, I traveled in a local train, in a really local classes, in a mass economic class, and I just fell asleep one day. And I was with my iPhone in a part of me, and it fell down. I was sleeping in the upper bed. It fell down, and when I woke up, the Indian said me, "Hey man, your iPhone fell down, and this is your iPhone." And that's just an example, but I found, for example, a painter in Udaipur was really poor, and he invited me in his own house with his daughter, his wife. They sleep in a small room, and he invited me and share with me the food, and he never asked me 1 rupees. And I tried to buy some painting just to say thank you, and they say no, it's for free. And people, it's good, and I can find everywhere. Obviously you have to pay attention, because everywhere there are thieves and criminals, but it's like everywhere in the world. And in my opinion, at the end, Europe is the most dangerous country, because if you walk alone in the dark, in the night, in some big way, in the big capital or in the big cities, you will have some problem, because I don't know why, but it's like this. So people in our world think, okay, if here is dangerous, how can you imagine it can be in some places like India, like Cambodia, like in Vietnam, or I don't know, somewhere else. And that's the fact, because mass media try to put the attention on bad news. But I think mostly of the bad news comes from our countries, our side of the world.
So where can we follow you?
I have my personal blog site. It's called Trip Therapy, triptherapy.net. You can find me, of course, on internet, or even on all the social channels like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. YouTube is really important, because my purpose is to become a storyteller and video maker. So every place I visit, every experience I had, I put some videos on YouTube. I have my own channel called Trip Therapy. It's called Trip Therapy, of course, because I'm diabetic, and I can show that it's like traveling is like a therapy, but not only for the body, even for the soul, because for me it's a big opportunity to grow up my soul, especially here in Asia and all the world. And traveling is, for me, is a therapy, and for somebody else can be something else, can be a therapy for the soul and for happiness. Basically, as I say, the people is unhappy. And why? Because the society try to impose you that, like marketing, you know, the hidden rule of marketing is they want the people unhappy. Why? Because people unhappy desire, and people who desire pay and spend money. So they always put a model that is something unreachable. They put the limit always up to you, and nobody can reach that limit. So people start to desire, start to buy. I don't like this, so I just step away from this kind of society, this kind of model, and I try to think on myself, on my soul, start to meditate, start to practice yoga, start to feel better.
Yeah, so you also use the trip, as you said, as a therapy, of course, but in a more profound sense, like you were saying, in India, you learn to meditate, but there's other things you had planned, like doing, right?
Another dream of my life I really love to write. Since I was a baby, I like to write. So my dream is to write a book. And I will take the opportunity to be on a cargo boat for 40 days now, and then after for another 15 days for in transatlantic, to start to write my book. And yeah, I hope I just write for myself, but who knows, maybe it became something bigger.